I want to talk about a temporary hearing. That's the first hearing that is held immediately after a divorce is filed. That's the hearing where temporary child support is set. The court determines who's going to live in the house. Maybe one party is going to have to move out. They determine who has use of what property and how the money is going to be divided. So in Tarrant County, because that's primarily where I practice, I will talk having to do primarily with Tarrant County. If you haven't watched my video on what to wear to court, please watch that video. But you come down and you're going to be coming into the courtroom area. Go ahead and go into the courtroom and go up to the bailiff. So that is the man sitting behind that bench in the courtroom, and tell him your name. And then you can either sit in the courtroom, or there's a number of benches and conference rooms outside of the courtroom. If the conference room that's immediately outside the courtroom is available, go ahead and sit in it. That is prime real estate. It gives you some privacy. There are windows, so when I come in, if I'm not already there, I can see you. The biggest thing is that's really prime real estate, and it's a nice place to get away and have some privacy as you're waiting. Waiting is one big thing that happens during a temporary hearing. The associate judges is that is the name of the type of judge that hears a temporary hearing, and they work for a district judge. And their settings are generally like 10 or 15 cases are set at the exact same time. And many of the judges might have a setting at 8:30. They don't even show up at the courthouse until 9 o'clock. So even if you were the very first person that they hear, you're still going to have a period of waiting. So I always do tell people, bring something to read, bring someone, a friend or something, to keep you occupied, so that you're not sitting there just stressing over what's going to happen and the unknown. All those things make things easier for you, because you've never been, you probably haven't been in a courtroom situation like this before. And the more that you can feel comfortable about it, the better it is. And on the lines of being comfortable, if you're in a situation where you have the ability to go down to the courthouse and just sit in on some cases, not on the day of your temporary hearing, just on any other day, then definitely go down and do that. So at the temporary hearing, generally if there's an attorney on the other side of the case, the attorneys will get together. They will exchange financial information. So you might remember that financial that my office would have had you fill out. We would exchange the financial information and the tax returns and W-2s and that type of thing. And the attorneys will try to work out an agreement that both attorneys feel is within the bounds of what the judge would do in the case. And then we would bring those suggestions of a settlement to each of our clients. And if we reach something that everybody can agree on, that's great. It's written up in a little form that we handwrite it, and then it's later put into typed wording. And that's really great if you can have an agreement. But lots of times people are not able to have an agreement. What happens at that stage depends greatly on which court your case is in. This is true in Tarrant County, it's true in any county throughout the state. Each judge has their own way that they like to do things. So one of the things that when people want to know what's going to happen at my temporary hearing, if they're just calling generally, I have to say, well, we need to know what court your case is in so I know who the judge is. There are judges in Tarrant County that are associate judges that pretty routinely do 50-50 visitation schedules on temporary orders, and there are other courts that don't believe in 50-50 at all. There is one court in Tarrant County where they don't care anything about what anybody's expenses are. They just look at the income of the two people, divide it in two, and give half to each person. They don't order anybody to pay anything. That particular court is the only court that does things that way. So it's really important to have an attorney who is very knowledgeable of the judges that you will be in front of. And that is the number one reason why it doesn't make good sense to hire, for example, a Dallas attorney that you might have had recommended to you that's a very good Dallas attorney, but to have them come into Tarrant County, they're not going to have the same level of comfort and knowledge about the judge who's going to be hearing your case. And that gives you a tremendous advantage if you do have an attorney that does that.